Hi, my dear Astro family. So today we are going to be looking at the Jupiter and Mars conjunction. Now, one of the reasons why I wanted to make this video is because, well, at the end of the day, this is a 2-year cycle. And when we work with mundane astrology, back in the days, there were only 3 cycles they looked at. That was Mars, Jupiter, Mars, Saturn, and Jupiter and Saturn conjunctions. So Mars and Jupiter midpoint is kind of like a 2.2-year cycle. And it's going to be showing plenty of things, actually. So firstly, it's going to be happening in the sign of Aries on a 3-degree, which is a Taurus decan. So when we are working with this energy, we're going to have to put together Mars, Jupiter, Aries, and Taurus together. Not Taurus decan, sorry, Taurus Dwat. So Mars-Jupiter cycle will show us how we fight for our belief systems or how we are fighting against other people's belief systems, okay? So it's kind of like they want to shuffle something down on your throat. Are you going to be kind of a follower? Or are you going to be rebellious about it? And for instance, if it happens in one of the angular houses, most probably you are going to be fighting against those. If Mars-Jupiter conjunction falls into one of your Kedan houses, you might become a follower. And I usually experience that if Mars and Jupiter conjunction happens somewhere in your succeeding houses, then typically we tend to be kind of hesitant and we don't know which way to go. So if you are unaware of these terminologies, then the Kedan houses are 3, 6, 9, and 12. Succeeding houses are 2, 5, 8, 11, and the angular house is 1, 4, 7, 10. Now, I do use whole sign house system, so I would look at those in that way, but obviously you choose whatever house system you want to be choosing. Jupiter and Mars together is about fighting for a cause we believe in or against that cause. It's kind of like a campaigner. So we should be seeing plenty of campaign around, for instance, gun protocol, who can be using gun, who cannot use gun. Jupiter is the planet of law. So we should be expecting something to do with gun control legislations. And because it's on a Taurus Dwad, that really talks about how we want to be feeling safe, how we don't want, to compromise our security. Or maybe there is going to be ways of whether a security man can be having a gun at work or not, for instance. These type of topics might be coming up. Sometimes Mars and Jupiter tends to be overcompensating by fighting for something, as they might be afraid of being rejected or crucified for something. Mars-Jupiter has got the tendency to go to the bitter end, but it's always afraid of being humiliated for something. Mars-Jupiter conjunction in many cases brings up the topic of fight against religious matters. So we might be seeing these type of things. The individuality is going to become a lot more important in the upcoming couple of years. Probably Mars-Jupiter conjunction happening in the sign of Aries and on Taurus Dwat. It can also indicate that, your survival instincts are going to be growing quite a lot. How am I going to put food on the table? Or how shall I protect my own assets? Is it going to get taken away? Shall I leave my money in the bank? And all these type of topics, probably people will be very concerned about. There is an element of a patriotism is also involved with Mars and Jupiter conjunction. So sometimes what happens is that people actually are fighting against any type of violence, but it tends to be creating another war, really. I mean, violence. What I mean by that is, imagine that, I don't know, I want to be fighting against body shame, right? And then I'm going to be walking down the street naked because that's what I'm fighting for. But it's kind of like, what I mean by that that creating another war is that it kind of splits the population, and everyone is going to be having some type of opinion about it, and then they're going to kind of clash about it. So whatever it is with Mars and Jupiter, unfortunately, there is going to be an element of a clashing or splitting the energy of people overall. What I find actually interesting, and why I'm thinking that the people are going to get divided into two groups, is because the Mars and Jupiter conjunction happens on 3 degrees on Taurus dot. What's interesting is that Taurus' highest exaltation point is Taurus 3 degree. So somehow the people are here involved. Also, people's emotion. It does talk about that, you know, they are extremely emotional. I think there are going to be more and more people who want to be becoming a hero in their own way. But typically, this is a hero type of energy where, you know, you become a hero for a second, and then after you get forgotten, unfortunately, unless you come up with some new solution. I think Mars and Jupiter really talks about the fact that you need to be acting on your dreams. You're gonna be very enthusiastic when it comes to initiating something. It might be that, you know what, I want to go on an adventure abroad, for instance. I want to be relocating. I kind of want to be finding a better place where things are cheaper, or I can earn more money, and those type of things. Mars is kind of like the soldier energy here, and Jupiter is kind of like an authority figure. So in many cases with Mars and Jupiter, we are fighting for someone else's belief systems, kind of like we are a pawn in the game. And if Mars and Jupiter does not see their own strength, then they kind of become a doormat. And this could be something Mars Jupiter is extremely afraid of, being used or becoming a doormat of someone. Now, of course, Mars has got this sexual department also. So it does really talk about adventure in the bedroom, high sexual drive. It could be talking about jumping from one sexual adventure to another. So in the next couple of years, maybe some of the marriages are going to hopefully get spiced up a little bit, or it's going to get destroyed. The security of the relationship, Taurus dot, security, relationship area is going to be questioned because maybe something in the bedroom is not necessarily working properly. But this is about protecting individuality. It's about, for instance, dropping out of school because I don't necessarily see the reason why I should be there anymore. I'm getting bored. I don't see the results coming back to me. Another huge meaning of Mars and Jupiter is about taking risk. And that's a good thing. We just need to be watching out for greediness. It's kind of like, you know, when you play the game of dare or whatever it's called, right? So do you dare? You might be actually asked in many times, do you dare doing this? And Jupiter wants you to be acting wisely. The very highest manifestation of Mars and Jupiter is fighting for the underdog. It's a very competitive nature. It's about kind of promoting others as well as kind of like making others feel enthusiastic about something. I also believe that from an investment point of view, and Jupiter does come into the picture when it comes to investments, the competitive fields are going to be huge in the next couple of years. Anything to do with physical activities, sport-related matters, or even gun investment, I can really imagine that kind of working out. But also because Jupiter is a lazy planet. So, there is a little bit of a clash going on between them two. Mars is very active. Jupiter has got the tendency to become lazy, especially when they are not interested in things. So which one are you going to be? Are you going to be lazy or are you going to be quite active? This is, by the way, a success combo. From a traditional perspective, it was said that it brings success in war. With Jupiter, which is the planet of overdoing something. So we need to be careful about overindulgence in drinking or risk-taking. This is kind of like a gambler position, but also we can be overdoing sexual matters too. Mars represents aggression, so we can become overly aggressive, overly competitive, but also very, very depressed. This is an accident-prone constellation also. We can become prone toward injuries. I usually say that this, because Mars is a relationship planet, it could bring potential relationship problems due to lack of independence or an overbearing partner. So if that's what you are experiencing, you're going to have to learn, Jupiter, to give freedom to your partner. And that's the Aries part. Sometimes it becomes kind of like a competitive field in the bedroom or in the relationship as well. This combo is very good to teach kids for sport. Yes, this is a selfish combination, or it can be very passionate about something. It kind of wants to push things aside or people aside because it's so enthusiastic to get to the finish line as a winner. It wants to be kind of crowned. Remember that Jupiter is the god of all gods, right? So it's never going to give up its position. From a learning curve point of view, it's about learning to be open to new ideologies and opinions from others. It's about learning tolerance and staying open to other people's ideas. Because what really this talks about is that the justice is kind of like subjective here. Also, watching out whether we are jumping into hasty actions or having to make very quick decisions. But also it's about learning to stand up for your own rights, that I'm not a pawn on the chess board. You know, I've got my own rights. So probably there might be some legislations coming up which we are not going to like, and then people are going to demonstrate about it. This is the way how we are standing standing up for our rights. Now, you should remember that Jupiter rules two signs, that's Pisces and Sagittarius, and Mars rules Aries and Scorpio. So we've got Pisces versus Aries, one combo from a rulership point of view, which is really talking about beginnings and endings. So a conjunction is always about planting the seeds. So where is Aries cusp in your chart? Where is Pisces? Something needs to be ending in the Piscean department, and you're going to have to start something new in the Aries one. But also there is the Pisces versus the Scorpio element, which are water signs, and it talks about trine, right? So it's an opportunity to kind of heal some of the wounds within us. It's about probably sharing your wounds with others also. Now we've got the Sagittarius and the Scorpio, which are also neighborhoods, right? So it really talks about putting your fears out there, to kind of learning to be risk-taking, and we don't need to be sitting on our money. What type of chances am I going to take in my life? And then we've got the Sagittarius and the Aries, which is also a trine. So overall, this is a nice combination though. Just we've got this semi-sextile going on between so basically it talks about trine or semi-sextile, and the semi-sextile is about series. Series is about nurturing yourself. Series is about, and what I find interesting is that Ceres comes into the picture, which is very agricultural. And the Jupiter and Mars conjunction is also happening on Taurus, which is agricultural type of things. So we're going to be seeing, I think, people are competing to buy stuff, you know, online, or how they want to be kind of, you know, kind of bulk shopping, or what kind of marketing the big companies are going to be playing to kind of motivate us to go and spend our money. Now, let's just break it down a little bit more, because it's in the sign of Aries though. And the needs of Aries is about survival, freedom, action, and novelty. There is a self-preservation behind it. Let's say it wants to be kind of, you know, maintaining individuality, but it wants to be kind of having a child as well. It's about my needs. It's about being free and act in our own self-interest. It's an entrepreneurship position. Now, when there is a threat to our freedom, that's when we become kind of a war-like minded in a sense. And that's when we kind of become arrogant and then we fight for something. So who is actually blocking you in your freedom? That could be one question with this Jupiter and Mars conjunction. Jupiter and Mars is kind of like someone who can never sit down, needs to be active all the time, or needs cultural stimulation. Cultural stimulation comes from the Jupiterian factor. Mars actions fall into 4 subsets: assert, initiate, fight, and encourage. So sometimes this combo can talk about a battle for dominance. We can be rebellious at school or dropping out of school, or maybe fighting against waste, or maybe we just realize that we spend too much money on sex, sport, and the self overall. Something interesting I would like to mention here is there are the stages of life, and altogether the 12 signs kind of rules over 90 years of our life. Aries lasts for 2 years, Taurus 3, Gemini 4, and so forth. So basically Aries from 0 to 2, Taurus from 2 to 5, Gemini from 5 to 9, Cancer 9 to 14, and so forth. So if we start thinking about the first stage of our life, right, which is 2 years, then it's talking about the sensory motor stage, because it's about the infant predominantly learning through moving and experiencing the world through their 5 senses. And during this period, we are all about understanding the world through coordinating sensory experiences, such as seeing, hearing, reaching, and touching. It's about learning to understand that there is an object exists, not just me and mom. There are 6 stages in between. I'm not going to go through all of them, but you see that how the self is actually coming into the picture. One other thing which I wanted to mention is that Jupiter is the planet of enthusiasm, which is coming from an ancient Greek word. And actually, if we translate it, it means that it's the God within. So the biggest task with this combination is to find that God within you. It's about no need to worry about the past or worry about the future. It's the aspect of carpe diem. There is a soul urge to initiate an ideology or to impose one's ideological conventions on others, for instance. It's about the problem with this combo is that sometimes it is acting prematurely. So Mars in the sign of Aries, unfortunately, you know, it's not, it's the raw soldier type of energy, okay? So what we do need to remember here is that we're gonna have to learn to plan. Otherwise, we might be in a little bit of a danger. And this is something I just want everyone to kind of remember, basically. Another thing which usually this brings up quite a lot for us is things like political involvement. So we're going to see political arguments here quite a lot. It's about wanting to be academically and professionally recognized as well. So probably there are going to be some technicians who is going to get a gold medal, or, you know, sports people and all those type of things. Or also you might be asking yourself the question that who is the Jupiterian figure in your life who is challenging my freedom? Is it a parent, an authority figure, a government, and so forth? Sometimes psychologically speaking, it's a parent who stopped us learning from something you would have really wanted to do. But it's a rebellious nature. Okay, I'm not allowed, no problem. I'm going to be still doing the opposite of that. It's about freedom to act. So let's see how we are going to be kind of restricted in a sense when it comes to such things as you have got the freedom to kind of act. So another thing which I kind of wanted to mention for you is a little bit about the chart, what we kind of see in this, basically in the chart. So as I said, we're gonna have the exact conjunction happening on the 29th of May. Depending on where you are, you might want to be looking at that, but it's going to be happening on 3 degree 19 minutes. Now, a couple of things which stood out to me straight away is that there is no really major aspect happening to this combination. There is one, a sextile from the sun, which would really talk about, and let me just point something out here, because Aries is the exalted sign of the sun. So it really talks about if you start something, then actually you have got the ability to shine as much as possible. That's the major message I would like everyone to kind of remember here. From a mundane perspective, Jupiter is about economic, political, and religious issues. So because it's on Taurus dwarf, economic issue is going to be prominent. You know, I've been saying this for a while. I don't think it's something, you know, you are shocked about. I think it's also talking about idealism and overconfidence that can lead to unachievable targets. So I do believe that from an investment point of view, we might need to be a little bit careful. It does talk about church and the law, really, but it also represents the wealthy people, priests, people recognized for their moral character. So there is going to be kind of like they're going to be the most involved in one way. So, guys, this is kind of the energy I wanted to mention to you today. So I hope you have enjoyed this video, and then if you did so, then press like and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Have a blessed day, everyone. Bye-bye.